Padme lived through Mustafar, but the galaxy believed she died with Anakin. Palpatine used the lie like a weapon, crowning the Empire while the Senate applauded. Padme vanished into the shadows, protecting her children and chasing one question: who truly killed the Republic? And far away, Darth Vader rose, convinced there was nothing left to lose. Smoke still clung to Padme's lungs when the medical droid said the word stable. The ship's lights stayed low. Bail Organa ordered silence. If the Emperor learned she lived, she would disappear forever, this time in a cell. Obi-Wan stood at the doorway, robe burned at the hem, eyes hollow. "I felt him fall," he said, forcing the lie into his own voice. The Force went quiet. Padme understood. Anakin's death was the only shield they had. On Coruscant, the story spread faster than truth. The Chancellor appeared in the Senate with fresh scars and a steady tone. Jedi treason, a failed coup, a new empire to keep the peace. Senators rose to cheer, desperate to believe order still existed. Somewhere beneath that thunder, Padme heard the Republic's last breath. Aboard the Alderaanian medical frigate, she woke again to pain and to the weight of her choices. She could mourn or she could move. She pressed a hand to her stomach, feeling life, and her voice hardened. "He did this," she whispered, not sure if she meant Anakin or Palpatine. Bail brought her a sealed datapad, emergency security footage, tagged as restricted by the Chancellor's office. It showed clones turning on Jedi in corridors that were supposed to be safe. It showed fear edited into a narrative. "The Senate will accept anything," Bail said, "as long as it sounds like safety." Padme's recovery became a mission. She practiced standing. She practiced breathing through panic. She practiced speaking without shaking. Every day she asked for names, senators who hesitated, aides who disappeared, systems that went quiet overnight. Obi-Wan insisted on leaving. "If Vader lives," he warned, "he will hunt you." Padme met his gaze. "Then we stop hiding. Not today, but soon." That night, a coded transmission slipped through Bail's channels. Imperial, encrypted, urgent. 2 words repeated like a drumbeat. "Senator, alive." And in the dark of hyperspace, a new black-armored figure turned toward the signal, reaching out with cold certainty. As Padme realized, the Empire already felt her heartbeat. Padme returned to Coruscant as a ghost the Empire refused to believe in. Bail Organa became her shield, and Mon Mothma became her spark. Together they turned private grief into public strategy, because Palpatine's story only lived if no one challenged it. But one mistake on the capital world meant instant death. Padme returned to Coruscant under a name that tasted like ash. Her hair was cut short, her wardrobe plain, her face hidden beneath a travel hood. The Empire loved parades and bright banners. It did not look for widows who refused to die. Bail Organa met her in a service tunnel beneath the Senate district. No honor guard, no speeches, only 2 guards he trusted and 1 small med droid humming quietly. "You should not be here," Bail said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were not. "I have to see it," I answered. "I have to know what we lost." Above them, Coruscant celebrated peace. Stormtroopers marched where clones once stood. Holoscreens played the Emperor's address on a loop. Jedi treason, a Republic weakness, Imperial strength. The lie had become law. Bail moved her through forgotten corridors to a private apartment with no official record. There, Mon Mothma waited, hands clasped, posture perfect, anger carefully controlled. She did not gasp, she did not ask how. She simply said, "If you are alive, then truth is still alive." Padme sat at the table and placed a small datapad between them. It held fragments, security clips, flight manifests, sealed orders stamped with the Chancellor's authority. Not proof yet, but a trail. Mon leaned in.
Palpatine is building an empire out of fear. We do not defeat fear with hope. We defeat it with evidence. They built their plan like a battle map. Bail would use his diplomatic routes to move information off-world. Mon would track missing senators and quiet systems, places where loyalty looked too forced. Padme would do the most dangerous part, return to the Senate as a shadow, reaching old allies who still trusted her voice. But Padme's grief kept breaking through the cracks. In the silence, she heard Anakin's last words. She saw his eyes on Mustafar. Hurt turned into hate. She swallowed it down and forced herself to think like a senator again. Then a warning ping hit Bail's encrypted channel. Imperial Security Bureau, internal memo, unauthorized movement in Senate service levels. Mon's gaze sharpened. They are already tightening the net. Padme stood, heart pounding, and whispered, "Then we move first." Outside, a patrol turned into their corridor, boots echoing closer, closer, and in the dark, Padme realized Coruscant was no longer her home. It was the Empire's trap. Padme chose the most dangerous move possible, face Vader before the Emperor could fully seal him. She didn't come to beg for mercy, she came to break the chain Palpatine wrapped around Anakin. Bail and Mon built the cover story, but Padme carried the real weapon, the truth Anakin never got to hear. If Vader reacted with rage, Coruscant would bury her in silence. Padme did not meet Vader in a palace or a prison. She met him in the only place the Empire still treated like a wound, an unfinished hangar level beneath the old Jedi transit lanes. Cold air, dead lights, and a single landing beacon blinking like a heartbeat. Bail's contacts bought her 5 minutes. Mon Mothma's slicer looped the security feed for 4. That left 1 minute for fate. The shuttle arrived without ceremony. The ramp dropped. A tall shadow stepped forward, armor swallowing the light. Vader's breathing filled the hangar, steady and inhuman, like a machine that had learned anger. Padme stood her ground. No guards, no weapon, only a hood and the courage to keep her voice from cracking. "You're not real," Vader said. "I am," she answered, "and you are not who he told you to be." Vader moved closer. The floor trembled with each step. "Say his name." "Palpatine," Padme said, sharp as a blade. "He made you his monster." The words hit harder than any blaster bolt. Vader's fist tightened, metal groaning. For a heartbeat, the Force stirred, dangerous, wild, ready to crush her. Padme didn't flinch. She pulled out a small hollow chip and set it on the deck between them. It projected a red-stamped order, emergency powers, clone protocols, Jedi elimination, all signed before the Jedi coup ever happened. The dates were the trap. The proof was the timing. "He planned it," she said. "He used the Jedi. He used you. And when the Jedi were gone, he didn't give you peace. He gave you a cage." Vader's helmet tilted, like he was listening to a voice buried under pain. "You should have died," he whispered, and the words sounded like regret disguised as threat. Padme stepped closer, risking everything. "Our children are alive, and he will come for them." The hangar went silent. Even Vader's breathing seemed to stall. Then an alarm chirped, faint, distant, real. The security loop had snapped back early. Vader turned his head toward the corridor. "You were followed." Boots and voices spilled into the level, and Padme realized the trap was closing, and Vader was the only door still open. The patrol closed in, and Padme had seconds before she was erased. Vader stood between her and the Empire, caught between the Sith he became and the man he used to be. Padme didn't aim for his heart, she aimed for his anger and redirected it at the Emperor. One crack in Vader's loyalty could shake the entire Imperial machine. The corridor filled with white armor and sharp voices. Imperial security poured into the hangar level, scanning corners, raising blasters, hungry for a name to report. Padme's pulse hammered, but she did not step back. Vader stayed still. The sound of his breathing was the only thing that didn't panic. A lieutenant pointed. "Lord Vader, stand aside. We have orders. The target is an enemy of the Empire." Padme turned slightly, just enough to meet Vader's mask. "This is what he does," she said. "He gives you orders and calls it destiny." Vader's fist lifted. The air tightened. The nearest trooper jerked, boots scraping as an unseen grip dragged him off balance. Blasters wavered. Fear spread like fire. But Vader did not strike. He hesitated. In that pause, Padme spoke fast and clean, like she was delivering a vote on the Senate floor. "Palpatine killed the Republic," she said. "Not the Jedi, not the Separatists. He did. He wrote the ending before the war even began." The lieutenant barked, "Lies." Padme ignored.
At the vault, she used a code pulled from a dead aide's clearance. The panel blinked, denied, then accepted. The door opened with a heavy sigh, like the building itself was afraid. Inside, she found sealed hollow records stamped with the Emperor's office, dated before the Jedi coup. She copied everything: signatures, timestamps, clone command routing, emergency power extensions. The chain was clear. Palpatine did not react to betrayal, he scheduled it. Her comlink clicked once. Mon's voice, tight. "ISB is moving. 2 teams, 30 seconds. Padme's hands stayed steady. She loaded the final file and snapped the vault shut. Running would look guilty, so she walked, fast, controlled, toward a public comm station built for speeches and ceremony. The ISB rounded the corner as she reached the terminal. Black uniforms, cold eyes. "Senator," the agent said, "you're coming with us." Padme didn't answer. She topped one command: send to all Senate channels. Hollow screens across Coruscant flickered. In offices, cafes, barracks, and ships in orbit, the same documents appeared. Red stamps, Palpatine's authorization, the dates that could not be explained away. The agent lunged. A stun shot cracked past her shoulder. Padme leaned into the mic, voice ringing over the rising chaos. "This is the truth they tried to kill." Alarms erupted across the Senate district, and as the broadcast spread, Padme saw the ISB agent lift his comlink and whisper the words that meant the Emperor was listening. Padme's broadcast cracked the Empire's perfect story, and the galaxy reacted like dry fuel. Worlds that feared the Jedi now feared the Emperor's paperwork even more. Clones began to question their own hands, and governors realized loyalty could get them killed. Palpatine answered the only way he knew how, by sending Vader to erase Padme in person. The evidence hit the galaxy like a shockwave. On core worlds, senators froze mid-speech as the dates and signatures scrolled across their holoscreens. On mid-rim ports, dockworkers stopped loading Imperial crates and started whispering one word: planned. Some systems cut their transmissions to Coruscant. Others did the opposite. They rebroadcast Padme's files louder, daring the Empire to deny what was stamped in red. Governors panicked. If Palpatine could schedule the death of the Jedi, he could schedule theirs too. Curfews tightened, arrest lists expanded, and still the doubt spread, because doubt was cheaper than fear. In Imperial barracks, clones watched the same clips on repeat. Many told themselves it was edited, but the command routing looked familiar. The phrasing sounded like the chips in their skulls. A few veterans began to shake, not from cold, but from memory. Temple steps, screaming younglings, and their own rifles firing without permission. One captain snapped at his squad, "Orders are orders." Another answered quietly, "Then why do I feel sick?" Fractures formed, small at first. A clone delaying a checkpoint scan, a patrol missing a rebel courier by seconds, a trooper turning his helmet away as a civilian ran. The ISB tried to seal the leak, but it was too late. They could kill a messenger.
They could not kill a file already copied 1,000 times. Palpatine watched it all from his office like a man studying weather. He did not shout, he did not plead. He simply opened a private channel. "Lord Vader," he said, voice soft as poison. "The senator lives. She spreads treason. Bring her to me." Vader stood alone in a dark corridor, red blade unlit. The word senator pulled at something buried. The word lives pulled harder. His fist clenched until the metal groaned. Across the city, Padmé moved through safe tunnels with Bael's escort, hearing riots rise above them like thunder. She knew what Palpatine would do next. Then the lights in the tunnel flickered, one long blink. A familiar breathing rolled out of the darkness behind them. Padmé turned, and the corridor filled with black armor. Vader had found her first. Vader cornered Padmé under Coruscant, but he didn't strike right away. Padmé turned the moment into a trial, forcing Anakin's shadow to face the truth. The Emperor wanted Padmé erased, and the children claimed, quietly, permanently. So Padmé made the choice simple: obey Palpatine or protect his blood. The tunnel felt smaller with Vader in it. His armor filled the dark like a moving wall, and his breathing pressed against everyone's nerves. Bael's guards raised their blasters, but Padmé lifted one hand. She did not want a firefight. She wanted a decision. "Move aside," Vader said. Padmé stepped forward instead. "You found me fast. Was that his order or yours?" Vader's helmet didn't move, but the silence stretched too long for a machine. An ISB siren wailed above, distant but closing. The Emperor's net was tightening from both sides. Padmé's voice stayed steady. "He will never let you rest, not after what you've done, not after what you know." Vader's fist clenched. The force stirred, cold and heavy. "You should fear me," he growled. "I do," Padmé answered. "That's why I'm telling you the truth." She pulled out a second hollow chip, smaller, older, marked with Naboo seals. It projected a private Senate recording from before the war. Palpatine's voice filled the tunnel, polite and patient, describing necessary sacrifice and acceptable losses. The words were calm. That was the horror. Vader's breathing changed just slightly, like something inside him remembered how to breathe without pain. Padmé leaned in. You were his weapon. Now he wants your children to be the next one. That landed. Vader's head tilted, sharp. "Children," he repeated, and the word scraped like it hurt. Padmé didn't flinch. "They're alive, safe, for now. But if I'm taken, he'll find them. He'll raise them in your shadow, and he'll call it mercy." Footsteps thundered in the far passage, troopers flooding the access level. A voice shouted orders. The tunnel lights flashed imperial red. Padmé took one final step, close enough that Vader could end it with a thought. "Choose," she whispered. "Serve him or save them." Vader ignited his saber, red light slicing the dark, but the blade did not point at her. It turned toward the oncoming troopers. The first squad rounded the corner and froze. Padmé stood between Padmé and the Empire, and for the first time, the galaxy's deadliest enforcer aimed his rage on his own side. Vader's lightsaber moved first, and everything after that felt like a dam breaking. The tunnel filled with screams, sparks, and white armor collapsing in tight, ugly piles. Blaster fire burned the walls. Vader didn't fight like a hero. He fought like a storm, clearing a path with brutal purpose. Padmé ran with Bael's guards, pulling air through her lungs as the ground shook from distant explosions. Above them, the Senate district erupted. Sirens wailed, speeders crashed, holoscreens flickered between emergency orders and the leaked evidence, replaying the Emperor's signatures like a curse. Word spread fast. Vader was attacking Imperial units. Some called it a coup, others called it a trap, but the result was the same. Governors froze, admirals hesitated, and Coruscant's chain of command snapped. Clones fractured in real time. One squad joined the ISB, another blocked an ISB squad. Brothers aimed rifles at brothers, not knowing if the next order would steal their bodies again. The Empire built obedience like a machine, and now the gears were grinding each other to dust. Padmé reached a safe room beneath a closed Senate annex. Mon Mothma was already there, blood on her sleeve, eyes bright with fury. This is our opening. If we waste it, we die. Padmé stepped to a comm station and recorded a message meant for every system that was listening. She didn't promise victory, she promised a choice. The Emperor staged the war, she said. He staged the peace. If you want your world back, stand up now while his mask is slipping. Bail began routing the transmission through diplomatic beacons. Not one signal, many. 1,000 small fires instead of one easy target. Far across the city, Vader forced his way toward the Imperial Palace, anger pulling him like gravity. And deep inside the tower, Palpatine watched the chaos with a thin smile. He opened a private channel. "Good," murmured he. "Come closer." Padmé's broadcast went out, and Coruscant answered with riots and blaster fire. But as the first rebel cells rose, a shadow moved toward her children's hiding place, because the Emperor had finally decided to collect.